Couple quick tips on how to get the most out of the title color range titles in TitleMations. Left, right, and up, they all work pretty much the same. I've put left into the timeline here. By default, it comes on and one word changes color. It's built very much like the move left block title up in title blocks, in that a block comes in and reveals the text. The main difference being is that there's one word that animates in color, and you can choose which word that is. In the title inspector, you can choose whether it animates on and off like every other title in TitleMations. The text font size and tracking parameters are all published here, so you don't need to go over to the text inspector. So let's make a few changes here. I'll say let's go surfing today. And I will change the font and play with the size, play with the tracking. You can move this whole thing with the on-screen control anywhere that you want. The speed, I'll leave it at medium. The banner margin lets you expand or contract the overall boundaries of the banner relative to the text, and you can make it transparent or disappear completely. Obviously, you can change the color. Let's make it more of a surfing color. And the range color is the range of the one word, so you can make that a different color as well. Shadow, you can add a drop shadow. Okay, those should be all self-explanatory. Now, how do you choose a word to change color? So that's based on this start after word number and end after word number parameters. Start after word 1, end after word 2 means that word 2 will be the one that highlights. So if we want today, instead, that's the fourth word. So we're going to start after word 3 and end after word 4. And now today is the one that highlights when we animate. Now, you can invert the color so that the other part animates instead, the opposite. And you can choose the spread if you have multiple words selected. So instead, if I wanted both surfing and today, I could change the start to a 2. And now both these would be selected. And notice that they animate one after the other. And that's determined by the spread. If we drop that down to 0, they'll both just kind of click on. You see, they both just suddenly pop on. They don't really fade on. And if I increase that number, they'll come on a little more smoothly. So if I go up to something like 4, it almost looks like they came on the same. This comes on, and this one starts coming on just a little bit later. So that's the spread. And then the color direction, if you want them to move in the opposite direction, you can do that, or any of these options if you have more than one word. But I usually use this to emphasize a single word in a phrase. Finally, start later and end earlier. These are a little bit difficult to use, and I apologize, but I don't see any way in motion to make this easier to use. But these are both basically to enable you to make the animation happen sooner or later when this animates on. Sometimes you're trying to make this animate in color to something going on in the text. So these are the number of frames in that it starts. This is technically 50 frames in from the start of this title that it'll start going. And then end earlier is how fast basically it comes on. So it starts after 50 frames and it ends 150 frames later. It's a little bit tricky to adjust these, so all I can tell you is that you can play with it. So the idea is if you want it to start later than it does now, you can increase this, or if I decrease it, it should start sooner. So right now we can see it come on right about here at about 5:14, but I'm going to back up a little bit and reduce this, and we should see it come on. Yeah, now it's coming on about 5:10, so a little bit sooner. It can't come on much before it animates, the whole thing animates on much sooner than that. So you can delay it also. If I push this out, instead of 5:14, it should start a little bit later as we go up. So now it's not starting. Now it's starting way too late if you go all the way to 100. So it's a little bit touchy, but it's the best I could find as a way to animate the timing of that. But if I can find a better way, I will do it. But that's basically how these work. Then end earlier would make this animate on more quickly. If you back this up, it should make it animate on more quickly. over fewer frames. So they basically all work the same way. I hope those tips are helpful. Please enjoy TitleMations. Support at rippletraining.com if you have any questions. Thank you.